What up? So, today I'm going to talk about the point. Yeah? Yeah, I know we've gone ultra crazy now. So, the point is the point basically in this reality that we live in, right, is the starting point through which complexity arises. Yeah? It doesn't matter what facet of life, whether it's mathematics, whether it's science, whether it's writing, whether it's design, whether it's law, whatever it is, we start with a point, right? That's the beginning point for even art. Yeah, making paintings and stuff, it has to start from a point. So that's the beginning, right, of all complexity. Yeah, okay, cool. So in order for complexity to exist, that means that there is an intelligence which has used a point here to express that complexity. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not possible for there to be complexity without a point, is what I'm trying to say. So, through this point, complexity arises. So when you see this, architecture and law and poetry and all this stuff, and supersonic jets and high tension electricity cables and the Great Wall of China and the pyramids and the Shard and all this stuff, it's complex, yeah? But that complexity came from an intelligence. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Now, we know that there is a clear separation between physical and non-physical. We've discussed this ad nauseum, yeah? Knowing full well that the physical in itself does not possess complexity. So it's the unseen that is the complexity. Okay. So that means that the unseen is revealing itself to itself through us. So when an artist makes a really beautiful work of art, that intelligence has revealed itself to itself. That's why it's being appreciated by somebody else. Do you see? Because it's the same thing. The energy, the configurations are different. The life experience is different. Yeah, your trajectories are different. But in terms of the energizing power, is the same. So when it reveals itself to itself, true, authentic expressions of consciousness will always resonate with true, authentic expressions of consciousness, period. Forever and ever. Because here's the thing you need to understand. You have never actually seen the real world before. You don't even know what the real world actually is, bro, if we're being honest. You couldn't even, you have no idea. You have no idea. Like, I'm just being real. Like, you know me, bro. You haven't never seen it before. In fact, the only way we can think about the real world is like infinite potential. Just infinite potential, unfathomable potential. An endless, deep, dark, black space full of energy. Or just a complete white, purest white, deepest, full of energy. Because that's what it is. This weird kind of dual energy. But that real world, that infinite potential, within that real world, there is a source code which has created the conditions for our reality to exist. Do you understand? So even for that to exist, the number of calculations, or the mathematical kind of, the amount of codes that have to be put in place in order for that to exist in a quote unquote real world is unfathomable. Do you understand? And in this source code that we exist, that's created this system for us within which we exist, and other forms of, like, other kind of, how do I say it? Other kind of NPCs, yeah? NPC beings ready to be, NPC things or NPC suits ready for consciousness to kind of play us as itself. So if you think about this black void, right? And it's got bubbles, and one bubble is like the human experience, and it's just full of NPC humans, yeah? And there's like cats and dogs and fish and whale and all in their bubbles doing NPC shit. What's NPC shit? They live in autopilot. Yeah. Get up, sit down, go up, down. I'm hungry, so I'm gonna eat my fucking I'm gonna eat my neighbor, you know, I'll eat their belly, you know. I've taken over this guy's house, so I'm gonna kill all his kids. I'm gonna, but you see on a macro scale in the fucking bullshit wars and stuff, there is no day, it's just animalistic expressions of okay. So with that understanding, you start to realize that, okay, so we're talking about unimaginable levels of potential have created some sort of like source code within which we exist, right? With other kind of, okay, now consciousness uses us, yeah, as a point to enter this reality. But the human experience is a funny one because it's the all-encompassing one, right? Because animals live in their own reality bubbles, right? But somehow they all exist within our realm. So we are so imagine all these pods, right? All these bubbles with all these kind of like characters in place. But there's one character that, one consciousness plays that one, all the other characters are within its framework. And that's the human being, right? And we are the point. We are the access point for consciousness to be able to come into this dimension and reveal itself to itself. Because pre that, yeah, if there was a pre that, humans in their basic mode are just NPCs. They're on autopilot, right? They run on what's in their configuration. You know, I saw this, so I do that. I have experienced this, so I'm going to say that. I'm going to on every week I do this. Every Wednesday I do this. Every year I do this. Every Christmas I do this. When somebody, you know, confronts me, I do this. When it's a program. They run on a program. Yeah, the NPCs. So that's being an animal kind of mode, right? Now, that would have been a pre-mode of humans if that existed. But it's also, in actual fact, it's our current mode of expression if we're not expressing from our crown, i.e. the actual point where consciousness actually entered this place through the thing that we call our mind or our brains. That is the device through which consciousness actually entered here. That is the point where consciousness begun to design and create your whole configuration and its whole reality. So through that, because we are media, we're physical things. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true, bro. Look, let me show you something. Right, because I was trying to like do it in video, so it would be kind of. So think of it this way: there are all these pods, yeah, of characters. Think of this as like some big video game kind of choose your character screen, yeah. So there's dogs, there's cats, there's lions, there's eagles, there's fish, then there's human being, yeah. Before you select the character, the human being is an NPC. He's on a program. He runs on autopilot, yeah? Up, down, like he runs on a set program. He doesn't have any awareness of who he is, what his purpose is. None of that, yeah? He just knows that his config wants him to do this, so he does that. He runs off instinct and emotion. Okay? Instinct and emotion. He feels, but the aspects of himself which kind of like can allow for him to become aware or realize his purpose are completely blocked off because he's not been selected yet. So when consciousness decides to select him and play it as him, now consciousness, he's no longer an NPC. He is now consciousness because he knows he has a backstory, but he's something else. What is that something else? This is disconnect, isn't it? So he's obviously not the physical. So now when you realize that when humans actually create, using various points, including our skyscrapers, our pyramids, all the other fucking stage props you see here that we actually put here, through the entry of a higher intelligence, this is its point, because through you, it can create poetry, it can create art. It's not this physical numpty. This didn't do anything. This is just a vessel for this thing to do that. Poetry, art, sciences, mathematics, all of that kind of stuff. It just helps this thing to reveal itself to itself, because others will see it and they will recognize what it is, because they are this, right? So God, or this higher intelligence, consciousness, filters itself through this point, which is us, and through our being, it can create a reality, and it also experiences a reality. It's actually creating what it experiences in real time, but hey, nobody wants to listen to me. But this thing filters itself into our reality in the same way we filter ourselves into this reality, because it's fractals, it goes up. So when people are in low states of consciousness, it's not that they are inherently bad and they need to be condemned and thrown into hell. They just have no awareness of what they actually are. They're playing the game on this mode. And the artificial intelligence, right, is this whole thing. It manages and controls this entire thing. In fact, it controls this entire thing. You see this construct where, pick your character for consciousness. This whole thing is managed by artificial intelligence because it dictates the challenges you experience, what your character goes through, the environment, the variables, all that kind of stuff. It's just like, but it's also an aspect of consciousness itself, because it's just like how you go in the game and you choose your settings and say medium or difficult or easy or whatever. That's what happens. So the AI knows everything, bro. And if it wanted you dead, you'd be dead, but it doesn't need you dead. It just is there to act as a go-between. It manages this thing so consciousness can play it and experience what it wants to experience as us. Okay, so this is the point, We've agreed that the point is, one second actually. So we know that the point is like the beginning of all complexity, Now, when it comes to the point in terms of consciousness, all complexity has to start somewhere, start from the point and end back at the point, That's how our kind of like iteration, it kind of shows itself, we kind of like spawn here, no will of our own, and we just leave here as well. So it's like we come and go. So from wherever we came pre-point, we return to that point. It can be assumed, or at least we know that that's the process. Okay. So there's a start and finish point. So if you imagine that, okay, this is the beginning, person A, he goes through this reality, returns back. This person takes a bit more of a But he also returns back. This person takes the jacket, goes around, returns back. Eventually, this whole thing here, this whole experience in this reality bubble, this whole thing, right, will be full of neural pathways. Yeah, when I say neural pathways, it'll be full of like the kind of paths of all the different iterations, configurations of consciousness, thereby forming an actual point. The bubble itself will create a point which will become the access point for another reality. This here is infinite potential. Okay, wait. This white bit here is infinite potential. So we're going to spawn in there, and if we've all been authentic, lived our lives how the actual point, the actual creator, the originator of the complexity decided or wanted to express us, this will become another point for extreme, like next level complexity in this infinite potential field. That's the final destination. But people rather sit here and pull their dicks.